Hello viewers, welcome to our another video. In this video, we will discuss about conditional constructs and the concept of looping in Python. So let's begin without wasting any more time. First of all, what is conditional constructs and looping? So conditional constructs and looping are all about the functional process of the logical unit of the CPU. It involves all logic-based operations that are performed by a computer to produce an output. Let's talk about planning first. So whatever task or program is created using programming language needs a planning firstly, so that the task is executed properly according to the user. A good plan includes creation of a guide that can be followed, helping in planning efficient structure, helping to communicate with others what the code will actually do. Now let's talk about flowchart. Flowcharts are basically the pictorial representation of the plan. It can be defined as the pictorial representation of the sequence of steps and discussions that are needed to perform a process or a task. These flowcharts are made to explain the working process of program in a pictorial manner. A programming flowchart can be made by breaking down these steps in the various parts and writing them in different shapes to distinguish between the type of steps to be followed. Now let's see some common shapes that are used to construct or design a flowchart. So first of all, oval. So oval shows a start point or an end point in the code. Next is arrow. Arrows show the connection between the different parts of the code. Next is rectangles. So rectangles show processes. Next is parallelograms. So these parallelograms are used to show an input or output. And lastly, the diamonds. So the diamonds show the conditional decision or any conditional statements. Now let's look at an example. So we will see a flowchart that will represent the planning of a program which will take the input of a number and say whether it is negative or positive. So first of all, an oval shape, we will start it. Next, we will take the input of a value in n variable and then go for a decision. If n will be greater than 0, then we will print positive and end the program, and if n is less than 0, then we will print negative and end the program. So this was all about the flowcharts. Now let's take a look at the pseudocode. So pseudocode is used to express our logic independent of any programming language. As the name suggests, it is not a real code. It is an informal approach in English-like language about how to solve a problem. There are no rules associated with writing a pseudocode. It could be a list of instructions in an English-like language or in any programming language. Using it, one can easily break down a bigger problem into smaller modules or subparts and gives better clarity about how a particular program or a process can be solved. So pseudocode is a simple and informal way of writing programming code in English. There are no standard rules to write a pseudocode. So this was all about pseudocode. Now let's switch to decision tree. A decision tree is a tree-shaped diagram used to determine a course of action. Each branch of the tree represents a possible decision, occurrence, or a reaction. It is a graphical representation of all the possible solutions to a decision, which is based on some conditions. It represents values as true, false, or yes or no. Thus, decision made using a decision tree can be easily explained. The conditions are represented as nodes and decision of the decision tree. The actions are represented as leaf nodes of the tree. Root of the tree is the starting point. Now here are some advantages of a decision tree. It is a simple to understand and interpret. People are able to understand decision tree models after a brief explanation. It can be combined with other decision techniques also. Now we will talk about the disadvantages of decision tree. So they are unstable, meaning that a small change in the data can lead to a large in the structure of the optimal decision tree. If the problem is complicated, then it is difficult to control the size of the tree. So a decision tree is a tree-shaped graph used to represent the conditions of the actions. So these were all about the planning. Now we will talk about program control flow. The control and flow of a program in a programming language can be broadly classified into three categories. These are sequence, selection or decision, and iteration and looping. Sequential statements in a program are executed in a sequential order or in a linear fashion, one after another without any jump in the program. Next is selection conditional, when the program uses a condition to decide which set of statements to be executed between two alternative sets of statements. In conditional statements, if statements is used. Now lastly, iterative and looping, when a certain set of statements need to be executed multiple times in a loop, iteration or looping is used. Take a look at the decision making. The order in which the different statements of a program are executed is known as flow of control. It depends on the programming constructs used while writing the program. Decision making constructs are used to control the flow of execution of program depending upon the condition. There are four main types of decision making statements in Python. These are if statements, if-else statement, if-elif ladder, and lastly nested if-else statement. So in if statements, if statement is used when a particular operation needs to be executed only if any particular condition is satisfied or is true.
So let's look at a first example. So we'll write a program to take the input of a variable and print if it is divisible by 2 only. So take input in x variable, integer, enter variable, enter value, and then use if condition. So for if condition, what if condition does is, whenever the condition put inside for if condition is satisfied, it simply executes the operation. So for writing an if statement, the syntax is if, then within bracket there will be the condition. So in this case our condition will be if x modulus 2 equals to 0, which means if the modulus of x of 2 is equals to 0, or the remainder of x divided by 2 is 0 is the condition. Then we will simply give a colon, and after giving colon there will be an indentation, which means which tells us that we are writing the body or the statement is within the if condition, and we will simply write print even. Okay, so this is it. Here will be the input and outside it will be int. Run it. Here it is. We will simply enter 3, which gives nothing. Let's test it again. We'll give 2, and here it prints even. So this was all about if condition.
Any choice selection or conditional statement can be executed in Python using if statement, which is the simplest way. However, for multiple conditional statements, it is always used at the beginning of the conditional series. Next, if-else statement. If condition is used when a statement needs to be executed only if a particular condition is satisfied or becomes true. In case of another statements which will be executed if the first one doesn't satisfy, if-else statement is used.
Take a look at an example. So for this we will write a program to take the input of a value and simply print whether it is even or it is odd. So we have already taken input in x variable. Now we'll apply if condition. So if x is divisible by 2 or x modulus 2 is equals to 0, then we will simply print even, and if the condition is not satisfied, then it means that it is a odd number, so we will simply give else and print odd. So here it is our program. We'll save it and then simply run it. So we'll enter 3, which gives odd. 3 is not divisible by 2. In this case 3 was not divisible by 2, so in if condition was not satisfied, so it directly switches to the else condition and prints odd. Let's take another example. We'll simply run it again and pass 4. So 4 is divisible by 2, so when it sees that 4 modulus 2 equals to 0, it will simply execute this statement. And as in the previous case, when we passed on 3, the first condition was not satisfied, so it directly switched to the else condition and print odd. So this was it.
Next, we will talk about if-elif else statement or the if-elif ladder. In if-else statement, if the first condition is not satisfied, then another statement is used. But this cannot be used in case there are multiple conditional statements to be executed. In this case, if-elif else is used. This is used when there are more than one conditional statement that will be executed only if their respective conditions are satisfied. It starts with an if condition and rest other conditions are passed within elif statements that follow the if statement.
In this case, what we will do is we will simply write a program in which we will take the input of a number, and then if the number is greater than 10, we will print that it is a plus. If the number is greater than 20, then we will write print a plus plus, and if the number is less than 10, then we will simply write b plus plus, and if it is less than 8, we will simply write b, and if it is less than 3, then we will write fail. So let's see, we have taken input. So for first we will take if condition. So first condition was if number is greater than equal to 20, then we will simply print a plus plus, right? A plus plus. Elif, then we'll give elif condition, because we have multiple conditions to satisfy, multiple conditional statements. So next condition will be if it is, the number was less than equal to 20 and number will be greater than 10. Yeah, so the range for a plus plus is 10 to 20, so number should be greater than 10 and less than equal to 20. And again the next condition will be number should be greater let's say less than equals to 10 and greater than, number should be greater than 8, right? So for this condition we will simply print a plus, right? A plus. And what next condition was if the number was greater than 8, then it will be b. So what we will do is simply less than, greater than, equal to 8 and x is less than 10. Okay, number should be greater than, number should be less than equal to, less than equals to 8 and number should be greater than equal to 5, which was our condition for no, it should be greater than equal to 3. Okay, so it will simply print B, right? For this condition we will print B. And lastly, when none of the condition satisfies, means the number is automatically 3. So what we will print is so lastly we will give else statement or the default condition, so it will print simply fail. Okay, so this was it. Now let's test it. We'll simply print by save it first by pressing Ctrl plus S and then simply print run module F5. Okay, so we'll first enter, let's say 12, so it gives us A++. Okay, we'll again run it. Let's say we'll enter value 3, which gives B, because our condition was that it should be greater than less than equal to 8 and greater than equal to 3. So when it sees that number is greater than equal to 8 and less than equal to 3, it will simply print B. Okay, and then simply again run it and check for that. Let's say we'll give 9. Okay, so it gives us A++. This was the condition. So elif and let's see the last condition, that is we'll simply give let's say enter 2, it will print fail. So we can see that in by using elif condition we can execute multiple conditional statements or multiple operations for different conditions or respective conditions. So this was it. This was all about elif condition.
Now lastly we will take a look at the nested if-else statements. In case of conditional statements within another conditional statement is needed to be executed, nested if-else condition is used. In a nested if-else statement, the compiler passes through several checks before execution, but all are passed in sequential manner. If a conditional statement is indented with respect to its previous conditional statement, then its execution depends on the previous conditional statements solely.
Let's see an example. So for this nested if-else condition, we will write a program and to take the input of a value. If the value is divisible by 2, then it will check whether it is divisible by 3 or divisible by 5. So for this we have taken already an input for x variable. Now we will pass on a if condition. So for this, if in this if condition we will give simply x modulus 2 equals to 0, and this will be our condition for outer condition, and inside will these if the body will contain again if condition, and if it is x is divisible by 3 or x modulus 3 equals to 0, then it will simply print by 3. Okay, and it is it will and in L if it is divisible by or divisible by 5, then it will print simply print by 5. Okay, and if it is not divisible by either 3 or 5, then in the else condition we will write else it will print by 2. Okay, here it is. So we'll simply run it. First let's save it by pressing Ctrl plus S, and then we'll run it. So let's see an example. We'll pass on 4. So 4 is only divisible by 2 and not by 3, either 3 or 5. So it will print directly by 2 only. So what it does is, just after checking whether it is divisible by 2 or not, it will simply jump onto the first if condition inside its body, that is if it is x is divisible by 3, then if it was divisible by 3, then it would have printed by 3, and then if that is also not satisfied, then it would have checked for elif condition, and if it was divisible by 5, then it would have printed by 5. In this case none of these are satisfied, so it directly prints else condition. Okay, by 2 only. Now let's take another example. We will pass on simply let's say 15. Okay, now 15 is a complicated case, so we will not take it. We will give 10, because 10 is divisible by 5 and 2 only, and in that case it would have printed something else. We will see it later on. So it has printed that it is divisible by 5. Okay, now let's see another example. Again run, and then we will simply give pass on 6. 6 is divisible by both 3 and 2, so it will printed by 3. Now last example we will take is if it is 15. So for 15 is divisible by 3 and 5, but it is not divisible by 2, so what it will give nothing, because within if condition the outer if condition is not satisfied in this case, so it will not look into the body. So the divisibility of 3 and 5 checking was inside the condition of the outer loop or the if condition, in which it checks a divisibility by 2. So when the outer condition is not satisfied, it simply skips everything. Okay, so this was it.
So these were all about the decision making in Python. Take a look at iteration. So iteration is basically the repetition of any particular operation in a loop unless a particular conditional statement becomes false. In programming language, looping is the process of performing such tasks. In a loop, a particular statement or an operation is repeated unless and until the conditional statements become false. In Python, there are two kinds of loops that are used for iteration. These are while loop and for loop. So while loop are also called the indefinite loops because the statements are executed unless until a logical condition remains true, whereas for loops are called definite loops because statements are executed for definite number of times. Now let's take a look at while loop. So a while statement in Python executes a statement or a block of code repeatedly unless and until the conditional statements becomes false. The conditional statement or the test condition is executed and tested whether it is true or false before the execution of any other statement inside the while loop. Once the condition says to be true, the other statements inside the loop are executed repeatedly unless and until the conditional statement turns to be false. And once it becomes false, the statements or block of code inside the loop is not repeated anymore.
Now let's take a look at an example. So for this we will write a program to print all the numbers between 1 to 5 using while loop. So what we will do is, first of all, declare for, let's say, C variable whose value will be 1 initially, and for writing while condition, the syntax is after writing while within bracket there is condition, and after that we give the body or the statement to be executed. So in this case our condition for while loop will be when C will be less than equals to 5. So whenever the value of C will become more than 5, the condition for the while loop will become false and loop will stop executing. So we'll simply print C and make the graduation of the variable C after this one. So let's see, we'll save it by pressing Ctrl+S and then run it. So it has printed 1 2 3 4 5. So what it does is, whenever c was equals to 1, the condition for c was c is less than equal to 5, so it became true and it has printed the value of c, that was 1. Then after that it has made a graduation of 1, so the value of c became 2. Again, when the condition was checked for that the value of c was less than 5 or not, it became true and it printed 2. Next, and similarly all other steps were done, and when the value of c was 5, condition was true and it has printed 5. But after this, c became c plus 1, made graduation of 1, and c value of c became 6. So when in next iteration it checked for the condition, that is c is less than equal to 5, it became false and it stopped the iteration. So this was while loop.
Now, while writing or declaring a while loop in Python, there are some points that are to be taken care of. These are: in Python, the body of while loop is determined through indentation. Body starts with the indentation and first unindented line marks the end of the loop. Python interprets any non-zero value as true, none and 0 are interpreted as false. There must be at least one statement in body. The loop control variable must be updated inside the loop to avoid endless or infinite loop. Else statement is optional and will be executed after all the iterations of the while loop are over. So this was all about the while loops. Now we will take a look at for loop. So the for loop or the for statement in Python is used to iterate or repeat any statement or operation over a range of values for sequence. The for loop is executed for each of these items in the range. These values can be either numeric or elements of a data structure like string, list or tuple. With every iteration of loop, the control variable checks whether each of the values in the range has been traversed or not. When all the items in the range are exhausted, the body of the loop is not executed anymore. The control is then transferred to the statement immediately following the for loop. In for loop, it is known in advance how many times the loop is going to be executed.
Now let's take a look at an example. So for this we will write a program to print all the numbers between 1 to 10 using a for loop. So the syntax for writing a for loop is first we'll write for and then declare the graduation variable or iteration variable. For this we'll take x in and then we'll use range function x in range. So in for loop the range should be between 1 to 11 because the number of times the iteration occurs is 1 less than the maximum number last value or the greater value of the range. So we'll simply give 1 comma the last value will be 11 because we need to print all the numbers between 1 to 10. So 10 will also be printed and simply print x. Okay, and then save it by pressing Ctrl plus S and we will then run it. Let's see. So it has printed all the numbers between 1 to 10. So in for loop the graduation of x variable was automatically done because of this range function. Okay, unlike the while loop we had to make the graduation of the counting variable. So this was for loop.
Now there are some points that are to be remembered while declaring or using a for loop in Python. These are: the for loop in Python is used to iterate values from range of values, strings, lists, tuples or dictionaries. Else statement is optional and will be executed after all the iterations of the for loop are over. Repeated execution of set of statement is called the iteration. The loop variable contains the highest value of the list after for loop is over. Value of for loop variable cannot be defined beforehand. So this was all about for loops. Now we will take a look at the range function. So the range function is a built-in function in Python and it is used to create a list containing a sequence of numbers starting with the start and ending with one less than the stop. This function is basically used with for loop for declaration of the start and end. Now we will take a look at the use of else statement with loops. So Python allows to use the else statement with loops, but it works in different manner as compared to its usage with if statement. The else statement when used with for loop gets executed once the loop has executed or iterating the list. The else statement when used with while loop gets executed once the condition for the while loop becomes false or loop ends.
Now let's look at some examples. So for using else statement with while loop and for loop, let's see. First we'll see how else condition is used with while loop. So for this we'll simply write a program to print all the numbers between 1 to 10, and once the execution has stopped, we'll simply write that execution or program is finished. So we'll take a variable c equal to 1, and in while condition our condition will be c will be less than equals to 10, and then in execution statement printing will simply print c and graduate the value of c after this, okay, for 1. And once the execution of this while loop is finished, we'll simply use else statement, and in else statement we'll simply print execution done. So let's save it and run it and see what happens. So we'll simply print Ctrl+S to save it and then again run it. So let's see, to use else statement with while loop statement, or the function or the operation within the else statement was executed once the while loop ended. Okay, so this was how we can use else statement with while loop. Now let's see, for take an example for using else statement with for loop. So for this we'll simply use for loop for c in range 1 to 11, let's say, and 1 comma 11, sorry, 1 comma 11, and we'll simply print c. Okay, so it will again after finishing the execution of the loop, it will again print execution is done, and we'll save it by pressing Ctrl+S and then run it. The same thing is done. So in this way we can use while loop with the loops or the iteration statements. Okay, so this was it.
Now we will know about the concept of infinite loop, the loop that never ends, or when the repetition of any statement never ends, the loop is said to be infinite loop. This happens when the condition or the repetition of statement never becomes false. This may happen when the conditional variable of a while loop is not updated properly.
Now let's take a look at an example for infinite loop. So what we'll do is we'll take the value of c equal to 1, and in while condition we'll give when c will be greater than equal to 1. Okay, so this for any value of c which will be greater than 1, the condition will be true and the statements inside this while condition will be executed. Okay, even if we graduate the value of c, it will never become false, right? So what we'll do is c equal to c plus 1. Okay, and then inside c equal to c plus 1, and then print the value of c. Okay, for any value of c which is greater than 1, it will print the value of c, and when it is greater than 1, it means it will go up to infinity. So the loop or the condition for the loop is never going to be false. So let's see what it does. We'll save it by pressing Ctrl+S and then run it. See, the condition for the execution of statement never becomes false, and this is why the loop never ends. So this is called the infinite loop, or a loop that has no end. It goes on execution because the statement is always true. Any value of c which is greater than 1 will continue till infinity, so there is no end. So this was it.
So these were all about the iterations in Python. what are nested loops. So when a loop contains another loop inside it as its body, the loop is said to be its nested loop. The loop in the body is executed once the condition for the outer loop is satisfied and gets terminated automatically once its condition for the iteration becomes false, irrespective of the outer loop.
Now let's take a look at an example. So for nested loop, we will simply write a program to print all the decimal points of a number, that is between decimal points of a number from 1 to 5. Okay, so let's see. First we will take a variable whose value will be initially c equal to 1, and then use while condition. For while condition, it will be c less than equals to 5. Okay, and then again within this we will declare a variable that is d equal to 0.1. So when d equal to 0.1 we have taken, will again declare a while loop for printing the all decimal points. Okay, so in this while loop, condition for statement execution will be when d will be less than equals to 0.9. Okay, less than equals to 0.9. So what it will do is it will execute the statements for all the values of d less than equal to 0.9. Okay, and then now inside the body will print c plus d, and then make the graduation of the d variable, that will be d equal to d plus 0.1, and again outside this while loop will make the graduation of the c variable. The loop doesn't become an infinite loop, or it condition never becomes false. Okay, c equal to c plus 1. So we have done the graduation for both the variables, and within the outer while loop whose condition was c was less than equal to 5, there will be another while loop, that is d will be less than equal to 0.9. Okay, now we'll save it by pressing Ctrl plus S and then run it. So we can see it has printed 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1. Okay, then for again 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, and again for 3, 4, and unless the value of became 5, it continued execution. And as you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when the value of d was 0.9, it automatically graduated 0.1, that was, and the condition for while loop inside the outer while loop became false and it stopped execution. So this was nested loops.
There are some points that are to be remembered while performing any operation with nested loop. These are: nested loop is a loop inside a loop. Once the condition of the outer loop is satisfied, the inner loop is executed until its condition becomes false, irrespective of the outer loop. The inner loop must have separate name as compared to the outer loop, or else there may arise a conflict of variables. So this was all about the nested loops. Talk about the jump statement. Now, looping allows the user to program and repeat the task efficiently. However, there may arise some situations when user may want to leave the loop or break the repetition cycle. For such situations, break statements are used. Break statements allows the user to break, end, or jump to the next looping execution whenever any particular condition is satisfied. There are three main jump statements used in Python. These are break statement, continue statement, and pass statement. So what is a break statement? So the break statement terminates the current loop, that is the loop in which it appears, and resumes execution at the next statement immediately after the end of the loop. If break statement is inside the nested loop, break will terminate the innermost loop.
Let's take a look at an example. So for using break statement, we will simply write a program to print all the numbers between 1 to 5 using while loop. When the value of c will be 4, we will jump to the next iteration. Okay, so for this we will first declare c equal to 1, and within while condition it will be c equal to will not jump but will break the iteration process when the value of c will be 1. So will give c less than equals to 5, and then simply let's say we'll use if c is equals to 4, then what we'll do is we'll use break statement. Okay, break, break statement, and then print the value of c for all the values. Okay, and give graduation, or else it will become infinite loop. And here it is. So we'll give save it by pressing Ctrl plus S and then run it. Okay, so as we can see, the value of when the value of c was 1, the condition for while loop was true, and the value of c was not equal to 4, so it didn't execute break statement and simply printed c and then made the graduation of 1, and then the value of c became 2, and the condition for while loop was again checked, and again the if condition was false, so it didn't execute break and simply printed the value of c and made the graduation. Again it was done for c. Similarly, when the value of c became 4, okay, the condition for while loop became true, but in if condition it became true and it break. So using break statement we can break the looping process anywhere we want using the condition. Okay, so this was the break state.
Now let's talk about the continue statement. When a continue statement is encountered, the control jumps to the beginning of the loop for the next iteration, thus keeping the execution of the statements inside the body of loop for the current iteration. As usual, the loop condition is checked to see if the loop should continue further to terminate. If the condition is true, the loop is entered again, else the control is transferred to the statement immediately following the loop.
Let's take a look at an example. So for this we will simply write a program to print all the numbers between 1 to 5. When the value will be 5, we will jump to the next iteration and not continue that iteration for the value of c equal to 5. Taken a value of variable c equal to 1 and given the while condition c less than equal to 5, and then again what we will do is if in if condition if c is equals to 5, then we will continue. Okay, with outside the if condition it will be to simply print the value of c and make the graduation of c, that is c will be c equal to c plus 1. Okay, and then save it by simply printing Ctrl plus S and then run it. Okay, so you can see it has executed all the statements within the while condition for 1, 2, 3 and 4, and when the value became 5, it jumped to the next iteration, that is continue. Now for c equal to 5, the statement was not to execute this. Okay, so what it did was it could not make any graduation, right? So in next iteration when it checked that the value of c is 5, it give the condition, or the condition for c was made, the c condition for c was true. Okay, and the value of c was c plus 1 was not executed, because in each condition or each repetition the value of c was 5. Okay, so let's see an example. Will in this condition will continue and make the value of c equal to c. Okay, give it c equal to c plus 1 and then make the iteration, and in this case we will give 6. Let's see what happens now. We will save it by simply pressing Ctrl plus S and then run it. See, it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and it has printed 6 also. Now why did this happen? Now while in case of c equal to 5, the if condition was true, and when if condition was true, the graduation of value of c became 6 by graduation of 1, right? And it continued, so it didn't execute anything for the value of c equal to 5 and jump to the next iteration, that is for when the value of c was 6. So in while condition when it checked that if the value of c is less than equal to 6, it came that it is true, and then again printed the value of c. If condition was not executed because it was false, 6 is not equals to 5, so it was false and not executed, and then it printed c, and c was equal to c plus 1 again, and graduation like this became, and the value of c graduated to 7, and the while loop was not executed anymore because of the false, or the statement for while loop became condition for while loop became false. Okay, so this was continue statement.
Now let's see what is a pass statement. So pass statement is used when a statement is required syntactically but no command or code is to be executed. The pass statement is a null operation. Nothing happens when it executes. The pass is also useful in places where code will eventually go but has not been written yet. However, nothing happens when pass is executed. It results in no operation.
Now let's take a look at an example. So for this we will simply write a program to print only numbers between 1 to 6, and for the particular value of 4 we will get it syntactically correct but no execution will be done. So we'll use pass statement here, and we'll simply give the condition for, we have taken a value of variable c equal to 1 initially, and for while condition we gave c, the value of c will be less than equal to 6. Okay, now for if condition, the when the value of c will be equals to 4, we will graduate it c equal to c plus 1, and we'll say pass. Okay, else, and we'll simply print of c and c equals to c plus 1 graduated, or else it will become an infinite loop. So we'll save it by pressing Ctrl plus S and run it by pressing Ctrl plus pressing F5, and this is it, 1 2 3 5 and 6. So in case of execution of 4, nothing was this value of c equal to 4, nothing was executed, but anything else, the control was passed to the next iteration. Actually no statement was executed after pass actually, and this was it. So this was all about pass statement.
Now there are some important points that are needed to be remembered while using jump statements. These are: the break statement terminates the loop containing it. If break statement is inside a nested loop, break will terminate the innermost loop. The continue statement is used to skip the rest of the code inside the loop for the current iteration only. Loop does not terminate but continues on with the next iteration. We use the pass statement to construct a body that does nothing. So these were all about the jump statements. This was all about the conditional constructs and looping in Python. This was all for today. We will meet in the next video. Till then, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to our channel. And do check the link in the description for the PDF notes. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care.